everyone, and welcome back to the When We Were Kids, a Time Capsule Toys podcast, sponsored obviously by Time Capsule Toys. Monsters in the Toy Box, located in Warren, Ohio. And Toy Ohio, which returns June 21st with Joel Gertner and some other people to be announced, hopefully soon, once I can get the okay. Before we started recording, we were actually talking about commercials and weird stuff like that. But it's a funny segue because the first thing I wrote about was I wanted us to talk about was the old anti-drug commercials, which I don't even know if they make anti-drug commercials anymore. It's just like if you have someone who has substance issues, call this number.
Yeah, they're not all theatric like they used to be.
Yeah, so I wrote down 3 that I remember. One was the egg.
Oh, yeah.
This is your brain.
100%.
This is your brain on drugs. Any questions? They still continue to show that commercial because it sticks out in people's brains because it's the most odd commercial.
On every Saturday morning cartoon. That thing was on there like 10 times.
Yeah, it was so bizarre. Why are you showing it to like kids? But you're showing it to adults, so adults can say tell their kids not to do drugs. Not TV tell their kids not to do drugs. The one I always remember this too. I actually still say this line all the time. I learned it by watching you.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one, yeah.
Where they open up as a cigar box, and there's like cigarettes in it, and God only knows what else. And the dad comes in, busting the kid's door, and...
Do you remember the marijuana commercial with the girl on the couch, and she just like melted, she melts into the couch? Like
that's the third one I have written down.
She turns like the liquid into the couch.
I wrote flat girl on the couch.
It's like, all right.
But they made all those commercials, and they were so weird. And like you said, they were very theatrical. And we don't have commercials like that anymore for telling people not to do drugs. No. Now it's just like, call this number.
Yeah, now it's just like, it's just counseling in rehab centers or whatever. It's not, I think they want you to do drugs now because they want you to go to rehab for it. So
yeah,
they're not telling you not to.
But yeah, those are the 3 I mainly remember. Is I learned it by watching you, which that one looked like it was filmed in like the 70s, and they just used it for a good 15 years. The egg one, which sticks out. And the flat girl on the couch.
Do you remember that terrible? I'm sure. I assume your school had DARE, like DARE to keep the kids off drugs.
No, we didn't have any DARE.
You didn't have the DARE program?
We had people who'd come in and speak about DARE, but we didn't have an actual program.
So anybody out there, look up the DARE theme song. It's brutally bad. I'm not going to sing it here, but DARE had a theme song, and I still remember that terrible song.
I never knew they had a theme song.
Oh, it was awful. Yeah, it's bad. So yeah, we'll put a link in the comments or put a link like right here. Oh, it's not good.
That's funny. Did DARE have commercials?
Well, yeah, that was one of them. That was the theme song. Was the thing? Yeah. Yeah, that McGruff the crime dog was always telling you not to do drugs too.
I remember McGruff. I forgot all about him. Yeah, McGruff the crime dog. But he was more so about you trying to bust drug dealers and stuff like that.
Yeah, and then it wasn't McGruff, but what was the Forest Fires one?
Smokey the Bear.
Yeah. So Smokey the Bear and McGruff. Yeah, he had mascots for causes. Now we just have mascots for prescription drugs.
Only you can prevent forest fires. I'm trying to think if there's any other. Well, DARE had that lion, which I don't know what that had to do with anything. That was their mascot, besides their font.
DARE to keep the kids off drugs. Yeah. I just remember that theme song. It's bad. It's real bad. And they used to have like the anti-drug programs at your school, whatever. The DARE people would come in and whatever. South Park did a great spoof of that. Probably like a decade ago of the anti-smoking campaign comes in, and it's like so god awful. They all start smoking. So like, but it was exactly like it reminded me exactly of what those things were like. Back in grade school, whatever, where they would have like the anti-drug or whatever. You'd be like,
yeah, we'd always have
so corny.
We would have like assemblies. And then he'd be like, we're bringing in Lawrence Shipping Stock. And you're like, who the hell's this? And like, he's like, I played for the Vikings. I got addicted to cocaine. And you're just like, he'd pass out cards to everyone they signed. And like, you like look at his stats and you saw he played like 6 games and got busted for drugs and never played again. That was the stuff we had. We had those stupid assemblies with people you did not know or care who the hell they were.
I don't know that we had any like pseudo celebrities like that, or like I'm sure we probably did, and I'm just not remembering. I just remember the Dare people, and I remember I think there was an anti-smoking one too, and it just like it just being so damn corny. But yeah, so the high school or middle school or grade school assemblies were always like, I mean, you'd think like, oh yeah, this is cool, it gets me out of class, and then you'd be like, oh, I'd rather be in class.
Yeah, they're so boring, and they're talking for like an hour about their addiction, and you're just like, is it really worth missing math class?
Everybody checked out like 5 minutes into that. It was like,
Yeah, I mean, that was the one thing you always got excited to get out of class, but then you're like, oh, God.
We had one assembly, I remember, and it was at the end of the year, and it was so bad, where the teachers used it as an excuse to put on their own concert. So it was like teachers playing guitar and singing, and they played like, it was rotten. It was like they doing like a cover song concert. And everybody sitting in the gym be like, this is the worst day of my life. Like, just get me out of school.
That just made me think of a TV show. I believe it was on Fox called Cop Rock.
Oh yeah. I remember Cop Rock.
Didn't last very long. Neither of that had Assembly of the Singing Teachers.
No. Oh yeah. It's like, geez, oh man, like just get me out of here. And it was the last day of school too, so you're just ready to get the hell out of there anyway. And then it was like the teachers put on a 3-hour concert in the middle. Like, I gotta sit there and watch them struggle to play their guitars through like these awful songs from the 60s or whatever the hell they picked. They picked a bunch of like Woodstock songs.
I'm glad that my teachers did not play instruments.
Oh, it was bad.
Or sing.
It was bad. Well, I was in a band in high school, and I remember they tried to get me to be in the thing too. Like, oh, you want to play bass? I'm like, no, I don't want to play bass in your crappy teacher band.
I think they were called the crappy teacher band.
I can't remember what they were called, but it was awful.
Oh my God. So my kids are on spring break. I know a lot of people kids already had their spring break, but the one thing I thought about was I'm so weird when it comes to certain things. If I hear something or listen to something, or watch something, I think of a specific time. And for spring break, for me, there are 2 albums that are like the definitive spring break albums to me because I listened to them on my Easter break from school because that's when I got them. I got And Out Come the Wolves by Rancid. And then this one, I conned my mom to taking me to the mall to buy it. I think we had Waves Music, and what was the other music store?
In the mall?
In the Eastwood Mall. Was it still FYE?
I don't remember Eastwood Mall. I went to Stone Park. So yeah, I was...
So we had Waves that smelled like pee. Like you'd walk in and just smelled like a giant urinal. It was so gross. I don't understand why. So we had Waves Music, and the other one had to have been FYE still. But I conned her into bringing me to the mall to buy Marilyn Manson Smells Like Children. And I didn't have enough money to buy it. I only had like $5. And I made her pay like the other $15 because the CDs they're so expensive. But those are the 2 albums I got on Easter break that I remember. And whenever it's spring break, like I have to listen to those, and I don't know why.
I can't remember when I got Out Come the Wolves we had, and I listened to the hell out of that. I don't remember when I got it though during the year. I think it had already been out, whatever, and then it just like friends were listening to it or whatever, and then it was like, oh yeah, that's great, and then it just became that part of that, and
yeah,
you know.
Yeah, so I bought Smells Like Children on Easter break. I'll never forget my good friend in high school. He wanted me to buy him one also. Then he'd pay me after spring break because that's when I was to see him again. And so the first day back to school, his name was Scott. Scott goes to me, oh, Did you get my CD for me? I go, no. He's like, why not? Because his parents would not let him listen to anything that was parental advisory. And I said, my mom would only buy mine. And I said, that's only because I didn't have enough money. He was so bummed, but whatever. Sorry, Scott.
I think I told this story before. There was a kid in our high school that went, and before Best Buy put the security things on stuff to where beep was you're walking out the door, he would just go and take, he would steal so many CDs. He would steal anything. He wanted a CD for cheap for $5. He would go and steal it for you and then sell them at school. And he would come in with a whole, just bags of brand new CDs, or whatever, until they finally caught on. He was doing it when he got banned from the thing. It was he had to have stolen a couple hundred CDs from there easily.
I imagine him just opening up a trench coat.
Pretty much,
just has all the CDs in alphabetical order inside the trench coat.
He did. He had a big giant bag. He would take orders oh, what do you want me to steal for you? And he would go steal.
How would you say, what do you want me to steal for you?
And he would go take them. Yeah.
Oh my God. So speaking of the spring break albums and stuff like that, it's show and tell with BJ.
Oh yeah. So all right. So first up, I mentioned this before. This was a late night drunk purchase about 20 some years ago, but I've got Ultimate Rock Ballads, which if you saw the commercial for this, and I found it on YouTube, I'll link it in the comments here too.
Lots of skydiving.
What? No skydiving. It was Kevin Cronin and some other broad on there talking about it. But I mean, you go through and it's oh my God, all these songs are amazing. I got to get all these. So there's some of the, and for whatever reason, they threw in a random Ultimate 70s 1978 CD in there too for free.
Nothing's going to stop us now by Starship.
Oh yeah.
Is This Love by Whitesnake? I'm only doing the ones I know. I'd do anything for love, but I won't do that by Meatloaf. When I See You Smile, Bad English. Owner of a Lonely Heart by Yes.
When you watch the commercial, it was oh my God, and they would just do the snippets. I'm every song's amazing. I was I have to get this.
Damn Yankees, High Enough. Every Rose Has Its Thorn by Poison.
Mm-hmm.
Heaven by Warrant.
This was the last gasp of CD compilation sales, infomercials, late 90s.
They really liked Jefferson Starship.
Or very early in the 2000s, I think.
And maybe Starship.
Yeah. Time Life put this as another Time Life collection.
Why is it Electric Light Orchestra on here?
Yeah. I had to dump one in there.
Hungry Eyes.
It spans 70s, 80s.
Don't Fear the Reaper. Blue Oyster Cult Coming to a Burn Off Near You, I'm sure. That's where I saw them at. Was a burn off at Eastwood Mall.
They're still out there.
Right out of high school.
Mm.
Extreme More Than Words. Night Ranger. You really like Elton John on this one. And Night Ranger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of 70s stuff on there too.
Eye of the Tiger.
Yeah, the commercial. I don't know if Eye of the Tiger is really a ballad, but I mean, yeah, some of them, some of the songs are a little bit that doesn't really qualify as a ballad. I'd throw it on there anyway. We have the rights to it.
The Pretenders. Tina Turner.
And then, I don't know why
Linda Ronstadt.
They included
Queensryche.
They threw in a bonus CD, which was Ultimate 70s 1978 on here. And I've
never even heard of the Babies.
You would know the Babies to hear them.
Cutting Crew.
Yeah.
Glass Tiger.
Glass Tiger was a good one.
I've never heard of them.
Don't Forget Me When I'm Gone. That was a you would know it to hear it.
Werewolves of London, baby. That's a good song. Eddie Money.
With 70, yeah, but just the random one from the 70s. It's we should have thrown one from the 80s in there, but yeah, I don't know. It's we have this, we have these extra CDs. Just pack it with this one. Let's get rid of them.
I love how it's all these rock songs, and out of nowhere, it's Alicia Bridges, I Love the Nightlife.
I think that might that's just the Billboard hits of that year, I think, would be my guess. I don't think there's any rhyme or reason to that. It's just the biggest songs of that year. Yeah, I do. I miss the CD box set infomercials still. I've said that before. And
Time Life.
Yeah, Time
Life. Rhino.
Had everything. And now another show and tell item I brought in here, a couple of them. So kids today will never know the pains of trying to discover new music back in the day. So back in the day, you would go buy, like every record label would put out a compilation CD, right? And the big ones I remember from the late 90s for us was Epitaph Records did Punk-O-Rama.
Yes.
So that was like...
This is one of the ones I listen to all the time.
They did several of those.
This is 4. I forget the other one I listened to. It looked like it had like a carnival or something on it, I believe. But...
And everybody used to buy the compilation CD so you could figure out what bands you wanted to go buy the actual CD of or whatever else, whatever. And then the other one outside of Epitaph was Victory Records, had Victory Style, which was another one too, which was more like punk and hardcore or whatever. But there was some rock and stuff on there too.
Yeah, the Victory. I got one of the Victory ones, but every time the one I got was mostly like hardcore stuff. But I wasn't too into hardcore at that point in time.
They had like ska and punk and stuff on there too, but yeah, Victory turned into to just be like all hardcore after a while, like after the early
not
years.
Good hardcore either.
It just got to be like, all right, every band here,
whatever generic hardcore band, you sound like this band, put them on there.
They did. They signed everybody back then, yeah.
Yeah, so we got some of my favorites on here were Rancid, The Bouncing Souls, All, Bad Religion. I don't know why during high school there's a point in time where I think every punk kid had Voodoo Glow Skulls and listened to Band Geek Mafia. Zeke was underrated, I feel.
I like Zeke a lot. I like Zeke.
Millencolin is very underrated. And I think they don't get the love that they deserve.
I still like Millencolin, yeah. No, I was into the more rock bands on that. I remember Zeke and New Bomb Turks I was real big on. I think there's another one on there.
NoFX.
But yeah, but I do like Millencolin. And then I was into some of the rock bands. Like Victory had Electric Frankenstein. That's how I got into them. Yeah, most of the rest of this was just hardcore though.
Earth Crisis, Shelter, Hatebreed, Integrity 2000, Scarhead. I think I saw Scarhead concert.
They just played at Westside Bowl last year. They're from Cleveland, and I think they reunited and did whatever. They reunited. As far as I know, they only put out the one record on Victory. And they might have done more stuff out of that, but I remember everybody had that Scarhead record. I remember
maybe
covering
Scarhead. Maybe it wasn't Scarhead. There's another band I saw a couple years ago, and they played at oh my god, place up in Cleveland. I can't remember the name of it for the life of me. But they opened up for Expire. And the singer had like no front teeth, and he always preached about being straight edge. And like a couple months after I saw him, he got busted for selling drugs.
Well, it's not practicing what he preaches. And I remember seeing Scarhead back in the day. They opened for Motorhead. It was Scarhead, Dropkick Murphys was on that bill too. That was right when they got whoever the second singer was, who's not in the band anymore either. But then the Dropkick Murphys, Hatebreed, and Motorhead. That was the lineup. I saw Hatebreed like 7 times, never going to see Hatebreed. They opened for everybody. There was like, they put out that one album and they toured it for like 6 years, I think. It was just Hatebreed again. Like every metal show you went to, Hatebreed was the opening band. Everyone.
Hatebreed in our high school era, or my high school era, was like the only hardcore band people listened to.
Mm-hmm. That was like the first one that everybody.
And because of Hatebreed, everyone shaved their head.
Mm-hmm.
And put X's on their hands.
Yeah, Hatebreed was what? But yeah, they did. I saw them open for Motorhead. I think they opened for Guar. I saw them open for Danzig. I saw them because like every show I went to, Hatebreed was the opener. Well, there's Hatebreed again. Like, Jesus, they're on every tour. They just kept doing that record.
They toured for that record for 10 years.
Oh, at least, man. They were out forever, man. But yeah, they were the first. They were sort of the first in my high school, at least, or whatever, or in that time with friends, whatever. That was the sort of introduction into hardcore was Hatebreed. The introduction into like punk had different waves to it. Like everybody got into Green Day, everybody got into Rancid, everybody got into Offspring.
Yeah.
There was that, but then there was another line where like when Dropkick Murphys came out with that first record, that was humongous among all friends and stuff too. So everybody got into that too.
My school and the group of people I was friends with are it's so hard to say because there was like there was like 3 different group of punk kids, and we didn't associate with each other at all. Like there was the ones that wore the Screeching Weasel shirts.
Yeah.
And then there was like the ones that wore the Descendants shirts. Then there was the ones that wore the No Effect shirts. It was weird.
Yeah, no, I remember that there being like distinct stuff. I remember playing in all because all my friends and stuff back then, like everybody was in bands. It was in a band or whatever, and then everybody like played each other's bands too, because it was like you were just constantly like swapping people in and out. There wasn't that many people, but there was a zillion bands. Yeah, there was a bunch of kids trying to do ska, a bunch of kids. There was a lot of hardcore. Like I was just the rock kid, so it was like sort of rock and punk, and then it was like, but yeah, you all running out the East Palestine Legion and went and played there. We did that a bunch of times.
Like at our school, we only had like this one. There was like one band that everyone in the school would talk about that was like in school, and they played like the talent show or whatever. But like they had the most generic name, and all their songs were like generic punk songs. And you're just like, and everyone's like, they're so amazing. I'm like, they're really not. Like they're called Brand X, which seems like the name that everyone who had a freaking band at that time had X in the name or brand.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, everyone's like, they're so amazing. I'm like, they're really not. I'm sorry for telling you.
There were a lot of bands I remember, and a lot of kids would form bands, and most of them were terrible or didn't actually learn how to really do anything. They just kind of mashed it all together. Whatever. I remember there was one time where this one dude had this band, and he's sitting there, he's playing. He has another kid come play bass, and the kid has no idea what to do on bass or whatever. It was like that, and he just turned to him in the middle of the show. He goes, "Just play anything." It was like the best. I still remember that laugh in my ass. I was like, "Just play anything."
Oh my god, that's how do you sit there and get someone who doesn't even know how to play bass? You just tell them just play anything.
Just hit any string. It doesn't matter. Okay.
Oh my god. That's just play anything. Oh my god, that's so freaking ridiculous. We always talk about movies, toys. We haven't done any toy stuff in a while because I'm taking a break from watching really bad movies. But I wanted to bring up something which doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Probably won't make sense to you either. But growing up, there was an absurd amount of cartoons made for movies that just didn't make any sense. Like most of them were rated R or some PG-13. But I wrote down a list from my memory of the cartoons from movies that didn't make any sense. Rambo. Swamp Thing.
I don't remember Swamp Thing cartoon. I remember there was one, but I don't think I ever saw it.
Ran 5 episodes.
Okay.
And its theme song was the best, worst theme song ever, where they just took Wild Thing and replaced it with Swamp Thing.
Okay. All right. I never saw that. Yeah, for sure.
RoboCop. They made a cartoon for a movie where a guy's dick gets shot off.
Right.
Like, the cartoon's not like terrible, but like it makes no sense of why you're like, we need a cartoon for this. Beetlejuice, which the Beetlejuice cartoon is just kind of weird because Lydia goes to like Beetlejuice's world. Basically, it's a polar opposite of what the movie is, because like Beetlejuice is like the bad guy, and this time they're like friends. So it makes no sense, but I remember loving it growing up. I can't watch it now because the opening credits give me a migraine. So don't watch that now. The Adventures of Bill and Ted, which I don't remember watching at all.
I don't remember watching that either. I know that it existed, but I don't ever remember watching it.
The Police Academy cartoon series.
I don't remember that at all. Yeah, I didn't realize there was one.
Yeah, which also had a huge toy line. Like they had the Precinct and all this other stuff. Like they had you used to be able, it wasn't for very long. Some people know this, some people don't. You got to do, they had a mail away. If you bought so many figures, you send the UPCs or the police academy points or whatever word you want to call them, and you'd be able to get oh my god, what's the police chief's name? Harris, Captain Harris.
Yeah.
You'd be able to send in and get Captain Harris. But the issue was they didn't think that a whole lot of people were going to do it. So when they ran out of Captain Harris's, so in return you got some random police academy figure, or you got nothing. So like the Captain Harris figure is like worth a bunch of money because there's not a whole lot of them out there because they didn't think kids were actually going to mail away to get some old man.
Yeah.
And then last on this, like, mind you, these are just ones from the top of my head I can think of. Toxic Crusaders, which is based off of Toxic Avenger, which, how the world are you going to make a cartoon series off some mutated superhero where the movie's full of boobs
Right.
and blood? So,
yeah, if they figured if they could make a toy line out of it or sell it, they're going with it.
is there any cartoons from TV or from movies, I should say, that
From movies,
that I missed?
there's none I can think of from movies. I just remember like there being a lot of crappy cartoons, like either after school or like the ones I always remember being on were like Garfield and Friends.
That still holds up, by the way.
That's not bad. Garfield and Friends, Heathcliff.
I love Heathcliff.
Tailspin, DuckTales, like all the after school ones.
I try to watch Tailspin. It does not hold up at all. It is rough.
I haven't tried to watch any of these in a long time. And then I remember like if you stayed up from school sick in the middle of the day, Nickelodeon had all these cornball ones on.
David the Gnome.
David the Gnome. There was Maya the Bee.
I don't remember that one.
There was Maya the Bee. There was the Little Bits. They were terrible. They were like the midday ones. I think they were like for even
I remember David the Gnome because I'd be like, oh my god, he's helping this wolf again.
Yeah. There were some rotten ones in midday, like, and I'm sure it was for like little kids. That's why I hated it so much as whatever. But it was like, oh, nothing else on. It's either watch this or The Price is Right.
Oh, Eureka's Castle.
Yeah.
It was that puppet show that was on Nickelodeon during the day, which was terrible. Being homesick during those days was awful. You're like, there's nothing on.
And it really wasn't.
You're like, I gotta watch Wheel of Fortune or David the Gnome.
Yeah.
And you get stuck watching Wheel of Fortune because your mom made you watch it. So because of the cartoons for movies that didn't make any sense, is there any cartoons for movies that you feel should have been made?
I mean, they made toys for Over the Top. You might as well just make a cartoon out of it too. Like,
that's a good one.
Why the hell not? I mean, you did everything else for it that nobody watches the movie.
Speaking of terrible cartoons, I don't know why you saying that just clicked something in my brain. Do you remember Pro Stars?
Pro Stars.
It was the cartoon with Wayne Gretzky, like Michael Jordan and like Bo Jackson or whatever.
I think I do. Yeah.
I don't know who was in it. I could have butchered it all, but I know Wayne Gretzky was in it. I don't know why that just popped in my head. But so Over the Top, that'd be a good one. They could have been fighting crime with their arm wrestling power.
There's other movies that they could have done a cartoon series out of. I'm surprised they didn't do one out of like movies that like caught on like later on, like Caddyshack became a cult thing afterwards. I'm surprised that didn't pop up a movie somewhere like a couple years down the line, or like you said they did one for Police Academy. I'm trying to think of other 80s movies I saw a ton of. I just rewatched Bloodsport because everything interviewed Donald Gibb. They didn't do a Bloodsport cartoon. They could have done one of those. You know what I mean? Just Van Damme just goes around fighting crime. We probably just fight, if they wanted to make a cartoon of something and they didn't want to follow the plot of the movie or whatever, they just turn him into a crime fighter of some kind.
Oh my God. Van Damme just kicking people's heads off.
Pretty much.
I wrote down 3 that I could think of. One was Wayne's World.
I'm surprised they didn't do a cartoon for that.
I find it very strange that they didn't. They made a terrible video game of it.
Right.
You could have made a really bad cartoon of it. Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
There was never a cartoon for that?
Nope. They did a TV series. The TV series with Sarah Michelle Gellar. I figured if they did Buffy the Vampire Slayer, they could have made it like kind of like in the same vein of like, not really, but the same animation and stuff like that of Tales from the Crypt Keeper, which still holds up too. The other one I wrote down was Last Action Hero.
Oh yeah. I'm surprised. I think that was such a bomb at the box office that they're like, we're not messing with this anymore. The only thing I remember Action Hero was successful was the soundtrack.
Because it was amazing.
Because they had a bunch of metal bands and stuff on there.
All you know is all big guns.
Big Gun by AC/DC was on there. I think Megadeth was on there. But
Last Action Hero would have been a great cartoon.
Were there any like 80s or early 90s sitcoms that they did cartoons out of? Like you could, I mean, you already have the sitcom, obviously, whatever, but like, you know what I mean? Like there could have been a Married with Children cartoon, or they could have done a Full House cartoon, or
they did a Married with Children comic.
Oh, but I wonder if there was any, like, if they made cartoons out of
like TV series.
I don't think there was, but
they did one for Cops.
They did a Cops cartoon? Did they really?
Yeah, it has toys and everything. It was Cops. Then they changed it to Cops and Crooks. And like, I don't know how it was supposed to be based on the TV series because there's a lot of cops that had like, there's one guy called like Long Arm or whatever. His arms would like extend. There was Bulletproof. His whole body was like mechanical underneath his trench coat.
So they tried to do like Cops for kids, basically.
Yeah. They had a ton of toys.
Yeah, what the hell were the characters? Just like Cop 1, here's Cop 2. Like,
they all had goofy names like Bulletproof and stuff like that.
I gotcha.
And I know Sundown, he was like the cowboy one. Then there was Big Boss. I think his name was Big Boss. He was the bad guy. Another one called like Hyena. Oh my God. There was one guy who wore a prison outfit. I forget what his name was. It was something stupid.
That's funny. Yeah, I had no idea there was a cartoon based on the series Cops. I was just watching Cops reruns on YouTube there because they put all the old ones up and they clip all the really good stuff together. So you go through, there's just
Cops.
They got rid of Cops was great, especially like I said, I love watching those ones from like the 80s and 90s, like because
it's like you got crack in your pants. These ain't my pants. They're my cousins. It's like, why are you? No one's gonna believe that.
Everybody's drugs are never their drugs. It's like, oh, that ain't mine. Like, well, all right. It was.
But I'm trying to think if there's any other TV series spawned. I'm sure there has to be. Spawn a cartoon series. It has to be. I just can't think of any. That's some research for me to do for next time.
Was there an Urkel cartoon? Did they ever do like a?
No,
they didn't do a. See, my mind goes to like the TGIF stuff, or goes to like the really big sitcoms when we were 8, and it's like if they didn't do it for those, then they probably didn't do it for. There's probably not many that they did it for, but.
Yeah, so I had Wayne's World, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and then Last Action Hero. I can't remember. I was trying to think of other ones I think had decent cartoons, but here's one I completely forgot about for cartoons for movies that didn't make any sense. It just popped in my head. Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember I never watched the original movie as a kid or whatever growing up, and I remember when that cartoon popped up. I was like, why am I watching these tomatoes? I just flipped right through it. But yeah, I do remember that one being on.
They had toys and everything.
I was like, what the hell? Like, who watches this? So yeah, I never got into that.
What are some things? I only wrote down 2 items because I had a brain fart. What are some things from your childhood that you feel need to make a comeback?
That need to make a comeback? Outside of like food, we talked about food and certain snacks.
That could be food too, or snacks.
Stuff from childhood that needs to make a comeback. And I got to think about this. I'm trying to think all the stuff that like the stuff I was really into as a kid, and it was just
the one I wrote down was
still around.
Lunch boxes, because everyone just has those insulated ones now. Bring back lunch boxes that have like cartoons on, like Bluey or whatever is popular now. Transformers, Marvel Legends, Marvel anything, honestly, DC anything. Like kids don't have fun lunch boxes anymore.
I mean,
there's insulated things.
You could have bring back Trapper Keepers, whatever.
They brought those back.
Did they bring them back?
Yeah.
Right.
but they're just not cool looking.
Yeah.
So yeah, like lunchboxes, I feel like as a kid, it gave you like an identity and something to talk about.
Here's a very random one that I wish they would bring back, and I've seen these at toy shows, whatever, too. Bring back the like the street, like the street fair glass, like the painted glass.
Oh
like,
yeah,
or like a band, it'd be like Def Leppard, AC. I had a bunch of those, and they would
some of those go for crazy money now.
Well, they were it was just like such a cheap print, and it was on a mirror. So I mean, if you breathed on the thing wrong, like that paint would start scratching off or do whatever. So like they
had a sweet white and gold border cardboard that went around it.
Yeah,
the only way to get them was to go to your local street fair and pop a bunch of balloons.
Pop a balloon with a dart, or yeah.
But yeah, they don't make those anymore, and I don't know why. Because it was like it had to have been, because a lot of them too were even just a piece of glass with a picture behind it.
Yeah, they were so cheaply made and done, whatever. But yeah, every once in a while I'll see those somewhere, and if they're in any kind of decent shape, like yeah, they're worth, people are buying them. They're worth whatever. Because but not a lot of those lasted, because I think everybody just took those home and they immediately got like the design immediately came off, and you just had a mirror, you just broke it anyway.
I had a Bart Simpson one. I think that's the only one I ever had.
You know what else I used to always want to win at street fairs was I would always go win a goldfish. Like I'd always go throw a ping pong ball into the thing. Just to, like, why this 5-cent goldfish? And then a couple of them we kept alive for like a couple of years. It was like I kept this goldfish alive.
Oh my god, my
feeder goldfish that they would sell you, or they would play the game to win.
You saying the goldfish thing reminded me of my one sister had an aquarium in her room, and she bought a bunch of fish. She kept noticing the fish were going missing.
We had a lot of aquariums growing up, but yeah, go ahead.
She's like, I have fish missing. She'd buy more fish. They'd go missing. She goes, where the hell are the fish going? Then one day we walked in her room. We caught her one goldfish eating the other fish. Yeah. We called him Ed. For that day on, we called him Ed Gein. He got so fat. And you couldn't put anything else in there with him because he would eat it.
We used to, before we knew what we were doing, remember having aquariums as kids, and you would just put whatever the hell fish all together, and you couldn't do that. Like they would start killing each other or whatever. There was always one fish, whatever. And I remember we used to get those crabs, right? So the crabs.
Oh yeah, the hermit crabs.
Well, they weren't hermit crabs. They were like full shell crabs that would go under the water, but they would need to crawl out too. So like I remember them crawling out of they'd crawl up the filter and crawl to the aquarium. They'd be on the floor, or our cat would be chasing them around. And then when you had them in the tank, I was like, oh yeah, we got these crabs, and then we're like, oh, let's get those little frogs too, right? So you put every time inevitably you put the frog in there, and you go back like 15 minutes later, and the crab would have the frog caught in his fuck thing, like snapped in half, just sitting there eating it. Just like traumatized as a kid, because the crabs would eat, try to get the frog, and the crabs would eat him. Like, oh shit, can't mix the crabs and the frogs. Yeah, we had some. We had like aquariums, man. We had that forever, and yeah, just some of the different fish and crap we had. We tried to mix together, it did not work. So we finally figured it out. Like, all right, I guess we're just a tank full of guppies, I guess, because we can't put anything else in there. We'll eat it.
It was battle dome.
It pretty much was. Yeah, you threw it in there like, all right, good luck, fish. And then, luck.
We're gonna see who survives.
You always have one aggressive fish that would kill all the other fish. It's like, Jesus.
Yeah, my sister's goldfish lived forever, and like we couldn't put anything else in there because it kept eating it.
We had one like they were called cichlids, right? And they're real aggressive fish, and you can't put anything else with them. And we had this thing. And he was in the tank, and he was just killing all the other fish, just beating the hell out of them. So the one was like, I scooped him out, and I fed him to our cat. I was like, here you go. Like, you're gone.
And then he ate the cat. Yeah. He ate the cat from the inside out. The other thing I wrote down for things that need to come back, I don't even know why I wrote this down, was I think I saw it at the flea market, and it like triggered in my mind when I was a kid how great they were. Scratch and sniff stickers.
Mm-hmm.
How like your teacher would put a sticker on your paper, and you're like, oh, grape.
Yeah.
It's like nothing smelled better than those stupid stickers.
I'll see those. I think I've seen those at toy shows and stuff too, where they'll sell packs of those, whatever. I don't know if any of them still smell, or they lost them all over the years.
That's like scratch sniff stickers, puffy stickers.
Yeah, I remember the puffy stickers.
Puffy stickers, I don't even think they make anymore.
I can't say I've seen a puffy sticker in a long time.
The only ones I've seen are vintage ones, And some of them go for obviously for crazy money, even though like half the time the adhesive is like dried up on them and they just fall off. I don't know why I thought about this the other day, but I thought it would be a great thing to talk about every now and again. Our greatest childhood mysteries. What did the nanny from Muppet Babies look like?
Yeah, nobody knew.
All you saw was those sneakers and those stupid socks.
Mm-hmm. The sneakers and the socks. What did the grown-ups look like on Charlie Brown?
Well, that's the next. Peanuts and parents, teachers. Why do they sound like horns?
Yeah.
Wah, 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 wah. Like, I don't understand. Like, I guess I read somewhere forever ago. I don't even know if it's even like true that they made the parents like that on Peanuts and Charlie Brown sound like that because they feel that that's how kids hear adults.
Mm-hmm.
Is they don't pay attention to them because they just think of some annoying noise that they don't want to pay attention to. But that's what I've heard. I don't know if it's true or not. But yeah, I would love to know what the nanny looked like from Muppet Babies. I truly want to know why you never saw the parents.
You never saw
on Peanuts,
Dr. Claw and Inspector Gadget either. You just saw his arm, right?
Yes.
His
and
arm,
then do you know when that's the crazy thing. Do you know when they released what his face looked like?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, his action figure. You had to buy it and open it to see his face. Because they had a big piece of paper going across his face and down the side of it, so you couldn't see what it looked like.
Mm-mm.
So their whole thing was you had to buy the figure, open it to see what it looked like. And I'll tell you this, ain't nothing special.
Why?
Just some old dude with like a white goatee and crazy white hair sticking out.
Yeah.
He looked like that. Remember the Mad Scientist figures and toys that you'd buy? That's what he looked like, except for no glasses.
Well, they probably just popped the head off the Mad Scientist and put it on there.
Pretty much.
Made it a big gimmick.
I wouldn't be shocked.
Look what Dr. Claw looked like. Yeah, I remember he was another guy you never saw. I'm sure there's other cartoons that had
greatest childhood mysteries. Here's one that they really stopped doing this, and I really want to know why. Why don't we put missing kids on milk anymore?
I don't know. Are kids drinking a lot of milk these days or whatever? Is that kind of?
But that's the thing. Like,
I don't eat cereal that often anymore, so it's not like.
But like, when did they do away with cartons and just go to gallons? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like that was a huge thing, was putting kids' faces on milk, and then they just completely stopped.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess they figured maybe milk wasn't selling. If it made people sad. It's like, oh, it's missing kid again on the milk.
Oh my God, they still haven't found Jeremy. It's like, Jesus Christ, how many years has it been?
Do people collect old milk cartons with the pictures on them, I wonder? I bet you they do.
I never thought about that.
Like, did people save any of that? I mean, you got a carton of... the cartons couldn't have held up, whatever. I mean, if you open it, you got to dump the milk out of it because it's going to be... You're going to have a carton of rotten milk after all these years. It's going to turn into cheese, whatever it is, after 30 years.
It does not smell good at all.
But I wonder... Yeah, it's probably doesn't lend itself to collecting very well, but I bet you somebody does. I bet you somebody collects them.
I'm sure. But yeah, like that's another thing too. Like I said, when did they stop going from those cartons to just gallons? Like I remember growing up, I want to say they were like blue. They were from Sparkle because my aunt used to buy them all the time. You'd have to fold them back, push them out, squeeze them out,
that would always
pour it and push it back in.
That would always mess up. You go to open the milk, it always rips it. God, and you just sit there and like tear it or jab at it. It's like, oh, I hated when the carton didn't work.
If my mom or my aunt bought the cheap milk, you had to use a knife to open it.
Yeah,
because the glue was so they used so much glue to close it, you couldn't get it open.
Oh yeah, that would drive you nuts when they said you go to open your milk and it wouldn't. It's like, oh, the stupid top doesn't fold back or doesn't rip out. Yeah,
but yeah, like it's crazy to me that like they went to. Like I want to know why they did that. Like why did they switch it? Why did they stop putting kids on milk cartons? I don't know. There's so many mysteries, so many questions I want answered that I don't have any answers for.
I wonder if putting them on the milk carton actually ever helped people find the kids, or did it even matter? Like, everybody just eating their cereal and nobody cares. Like, whatever.
Yeah. No one cares about poor old Jenny.
Yeah.
Missing from Missouri in 1986. But that's the other thing, too, is like, how many kids were found because of the milk cartons?
I don't know. We're going to have to look this up. I'll have to check the stats on this. I'm sure they got it somewhere.
They have to. I actually looked up the stats once on how many kids were found because of Soul Asylum's Runaway Train video. And I didn't realize this. They said they still update that video, and they'll put in new kids that are gone missing.
Jeez.
Which I thought was like insane.
You can't. I mean, I guess it's still getting views. I'm sure that's their biggest hit. But like, I wouldn't think that you would be checking the Soul Asylum video or whatever. But I guess if they're still getting that many views on it this many years later.
Yeah, it's just crazy. But yeah, that's all I got from. That's all I got. I'm done. Well, thanks everyone for checking us out. I'll try to think of some more ridiculous, stupid ass mysteries that concerns nobody except for me and keeps me up at night. But thank you everyone for tuning in and checking us out. We greatly appreciate it. Please make sure to follow Young Sound Studios. Check out all their other videos, podcasts, everything. They have a morning show now. Every now and then BJ pops in on there. But make sure to check out Time Capsule Toys. Check out Monsters in the Toy Box. Don't forget Julia Hart's coming to Monsters in the Toy Box next month. Toy Hile returns June 21st, so get your tickets for that on Eventbrite. And stay away from the scam artists that try to sell you their tickets because they didn't buy them. Peace. Hello, everyone, and welcome.